it downfield. It is. Oh, it's caught. John Moran in the clutch. Oh, my word. Oh, my God. Deep to right field. Way up there. And way down the sideline. Jefferson. Another huge run. Jalen Red broke tackle. Stayed on his feet.
What's happening, everybody? Hope you're having a good one. And in 1970, the Los Angeles Clippers organization was formed in the NBA. For 51 years since then, the Clippers have came up short every single time of the conference finals. Until Friday night, where the Clippers pulled off one of the most miraculous comebacks in playoff history to win Game 6 and secure a conference finals berth for the first time in franchise history. The Jazz were looking like their dominant, normal shooting selves as they were great early on, with star Donovan Mitchell leading the way, scoring 16 points in the opening quarter, while the sixth man of the year, Jordan Clarkson, followed him up and took control in the second, scoring 17 straight points for the Jazz to extend their lead to 22 at the break. Mitchell then opened the second half with a three from the logo, which made it a 25-point deficit for the Clippers, who, not to mention, were without Kawhi Leonard. The man filling in for Leonard was second-year player Terrence Mann, who had scored only 25 points total in the previous 5 games. Well, tonight there was a new calling, with Staples Center in full capacity for the first time in 15 months. Mann scored 20 points in just the third quarter alone, leading the way in a 41-22 third quarter stretch by the Clippers, which cut what was a 25-point deficit to just a 6-point deficit heading into the fourth quarter. And then in the fourth, who would have thought after being down 25 at the start of the third, the Clippers would find a way to not only come back, but pull away, hitting all kinds of shots from beyond the arc from Paul George, Reggie Jackson, that bad man Terrence Mann, and even Patrick Beverley with the dagger that closed out this game out in dominant, electrifying fashion. 131-119, 12-point victory. This small ball lineup was lethal against a defense that relied heavily on its agile defensive player of the year in Rudy Gobert to contest shots. The Clippers' spacing was just superb, which stretched Gobert out and always left a man with an open look. And as we saw in the third quarter, Terrence Mann was just left uncontested several times, not really seen as a threat. Well, he took advantage and showed them and the world what he is capable of. The Clippers will now pack up and head straight to Phoenix on Sunday for Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals against the Suns, who are going to be potentially without Chris Paul for a majority, if not all of the series, due to COVID-19. As I stated earlier, though, the Clippers were without Kawhi, and they may be without him for the rest of the playoffs, with him suffering an injury related to his ACL. So this series will actually still be a pretty evenly matched one. You could even go as far to say the Clippers could have the advantage in the sense that they can use their offensive chemistry and strategy to isolate a similar agile big man presence in DeAndre Ayton. Obviously, Ayton has a more offensive presence than Gobert does for the Jazz, but still they can use a similar scheme. But they're definitely going to have to worry about Devin Booker. He is a lethal one, and he is going to pick up the slack, as we saw when Chris Paul was gone against the Lakers. So it'll be an interesting season. Not to mention, though, the Clippers did win the regular season series 2-1. So it'll be interesting, but personally, it lines up to be a pretty match, personnel-wise, it lines up to be a pretty well matchup with one another, and I'm really excited. The role players match up pretty well, and they got star guards in Paul George and Devin Booker matching up on one another. It should be a good game and a great series to watch, and I'm very excited to see how it plays out and who ends up in the finals out of the West. It's not going to be the reigning champion Los Angeles Lakers, but could another city from LA pull it out? You'll have to wait and see. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. You can catch all of it and all the coverage and more on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and or YouTube here on Blake's Take. Subscribe and like for more. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a great rest of your night, everyone.